Okay, so hello, good afternoon, statistics babies. Welcome back to our class. Let's proceed with the last topic for chapter 1, that is sample, space, and events. Sample space and events. Okay, sample space and events. Why are we talking about sampling? Because of course, first of all, I have two reasons. Our class is statistics and probability. That means that we are going to be spherical or spiral in the K-12 program that offers statistics and probability and that involves sampling. Ikaduha, because of research. You are a prerequisite of research, practical research class. And practical research class, that means you have to understand what sampling is. Okay. So let's define the terms first, sampling or sample space and events. What do you mean by a statistical experiment? The first term, statistical experiment. Okay, what is a statistical experiment? So a statistical experiment is any procedure that yields a collection of outcomes. Again, statistical experiment, it is any procedure that yields outcomes. So for example, that leads, any statistical procedure that yields a collection of outcomes. Again, let me rephrase this. Collection of outcomes. Okay, when we say about statistical experiment, it's just like an experiment, only that it uses statistical tools. So actually all experiments are statistical experiment because, for example, when we say an experiment that uses statistical tools, if you have a coin, when we say a coin, I have a coin here, a coin could either be a head or a tail, right? It could either be the head or the tail. And if you're going to toss it, you could either have a head or a tail. No? Abantay mo, there is a statistical method that is used there. Kung saan man, by tossing it, nakaka-understanding kung either ang mugawas ba, head or tail. Manay pasagot sa collection of outcome. Another one, if you have a die, if you have a dice, no? Kung nakay dice, if you're going to toss it, you could either get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I got 6. I will 7. I got 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That is an example of another statistical experiment because tossing the dice could either give you a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6. No? Another one, if you want to buy a cell phone, buying a cell phone, eating something, consuming something is also an example of a statistical experiment. Why? Because you are going to either decide kung unsa nga phone imong paliton. Okay, let's see. Kung kaning Apple akong paliton, nilot ni kay sikat, pero dili siya user-friendly. Kung kanipong Samsung, user-friendly pero mas dami lagi itong Apple. So that is a collection of outcome. Either unsa yung paliton, kaniba or kato. Manang gitawag siya statistical experiment. Whatever we get from a statistical experiment is what we call your sample space. Whatever we get from a statistical experiment is what we call your sample space. And we denote that one with the letter S. No, sample space. So sample space, those are set of all possible outcomes. Example, kung may set of all possible outcomes from your statistical experiment, example, in tossing a coin can either be a head or a tail. So how many outcomes do we have? In the first tatong toss, what is the probability na makakuha tag head? 1/2. Right? Can either a head or a tail. Manong 1/2 man. Si pasabutan na niya chair mo. Again sa second na itong toss, unsi probability nga makakuha gayong tag heads. Ang probability nga makakuha tag head is only 1. Out of pila ka probabilities, pila ka side ang coin? Duha, di ba? Pila ka head ang coin? Isa. Pila ka sides ang coin? Duha. So meaning, 1 head out of 2 sides. Muna pasabot niya. Sa second toss, pila probability nga makuha tag tail? Pila ka book tail sa isa ka coin? Isa. Pila ka book side ang isa ka coin? Duha, 1/2. Nakuha ninyo? Muna gitawag og sample space. Whatever we get from a statistical experiment is what we call a sample space. Another one, if we have, let's say, we have S equals Tossing a die. Tossing a dice. Sorry. Yeah. Tossing a dice. When we toss a dice, what do you think is our S? Our S can either be, what do you think are the values of our sample space? We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ganun pala 7, share mo. Pinanay ka mag-side ang dice. There are only 6 sides of a dice. We have 1, 2, nakarara, 3, among 4, 4, 5, and 6. There are 6 sides of a dice because it's a cube, and a cube has 6 sides. That means in getting the sample space and tossing a dice, you can either get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Teacher mo, how about kumingon ka og, ingani, example ha, getting the, getting the sulfur content in a lake. Here. Getting the sulfur content in a lake. Is that a statistical experiment, teacher mo? If you want to get the sulfur content of a lake or in a lake, is that a statistical experiment? Let's try to see. Sample space, isa gina sample space, these are all the possible outcomes. Okay, first natong test. First test. Nakakuha ka og 0.09 milligrams of sulfur. Second test. Nakakuha ka og 0.10 milligrams of sulfur. Third test. Nakakuha ka og 0.08 milligrams of sulfur. Wait, sa teacher mo, usab-usab lagi na siya. Yes, usab-usab siya. And that is what we call infinite sample space. This is what we call, this example is what we call an infinite sample space because it does not have an accurate sample space. Meaning, pwede siya mag-usog-usog. Right? Nga, alam mo, pila gid ang sulfur content ani nga lake. At this part, nakakuha kong 0.09. This part, nakakuha kong 0.10. This part, nakakuha kong 0.08. So, it's not definite, no? Wala siya accurate and exact na sulfur content or accurate and exact na sample space. That is what we call an infinite sample space. So kung infinite siya na sample space, what do you think then is tossing a coin, tossing a dice is? That is a finite or a finite sample space. No? So there are two types of sample space. We have the infinite sample space and the finite or finite sample space. Actually, I want to call it finite. Let me see the video first. Okay, makarara ba? I wanna call it finite because it's actually finite. Kapag sinabing finite sample space, ibig sabihin na atay tama, na ay hangganan. Example, if you toss a dice, ang hangganan niya is only from 1 hangtod 6. Nga naman, wala kay dice makita nga na ay 7, kay di na siya dice. Ikaduha, kaming kag infinite sample space or infinite sample space. An example of that is kanang if you want to test example of an infinite sample space. The height of a person, that is an infinite sample space because this year might change the height, the next year mag-change na po ng height, right? Or the weight of a person, it's infinite sample space, kaya mag-change ang weight sa person. And that is a statistical experiment because it yields outcome or it yields a collection of outcomes. Okay, the next term that we're going to understand is the term element. What do you mean by element? Hindi siya ang water, earth, fire, or air. Dahil ito ang element. When we say element, the third term that we are to identify is the element or the sample point. An element or a sample point, it is the outcome of the sample space. The outcome of S. Tara, S, diba? Sample space. When we say element or sample point, it is what we call the outcome of a sample space. Example, in tossing a dice. When we toss a dice, okay. What is our sample space? The sample space is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6. Ang sample point nila, kaning mga numbers. Example, get me the element 1. Okay. Muna siya sample point. Another one, what is the probability nga makakuha ko og 4? So, makakuha ko og 4, sample point. Meaning, kung gusto ko makakuha og 4, that is, pila min ka 4 aning atong tosing haday? Kausala ka 4. So, that is 1, 4 out of pila ka probability nga makakuha kag 4? 6. The answer is 1 out of 6. That is what we call a sample point or an element. Understand? So, it's another one. If you want to in a deck of cards, heart na cards. In a deck of heart cards. So, in a deck of cards, how many heart cards are there? There are 13, di ba? From alas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, King. Puro na heart tanan. Now, what do we call this one? This is what we call your sample space. How about sample point or element? What's may element? Pasabot. Kaning mga individuals. Kumingon ko, what is the probability of getting a king? So, how many king do we have in deck of heart cards? Only 1 out of how many heart cards are there in this deck? 13. That is our S of K. Understand? That is what we call an element or a sample point. Next one, we also have the next term. The next term is event. Event, E-V-E-N-T. It is a subset of a sample space. If an event contains a single outcome, it's a subset of a sample space. Okay. Okay. Kapag sinabing agad these are the 4 terms that we have to identify. Statistical experiment, it yields, or any experiment or any decision making that yields collection of outcomes. That is what we call statistical experiment. Sample space or letter S, no? That is what all the possible outcomes. So lahat in totality na pwedeng makuha sa inyong statistical experiment. The element or sample point, these are the values inside your sample space, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, no? And etc. When we say event, these are the subset of a sample space. Kung sino sagot natin siya mo, example. In a deck of cards, how many cards do we have in a deck of cards? That is 13 ka heart, 13 ka diamonds, 13 na, di ba kay? Alas, taman sa king. Alas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10. Alas, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Jack, Queen, King. So, tulog tayo tag 13. 13 na clover. O 13 nga spade. Ayan. So, with that given, how many cards are there in a deck of cards? We have 13 times 4. That is 52 cards. So, therefore, in this given, our S equals 52 cards. Right? Our S. Now, what if I will ask for an event? An event. Muna siya itong sample space. Now, what if I will ask for the sample space of red cards? Ano lang. Red, R. Let R represent the number of red cards. How many red cards do I get? From these 52 cards, I can get red cards. We have 13 ka heart and 13 ka diamond. Right? Or, the number of red cards equals 26. Because 13 plus 13, this is what we call an event. Because it is a subset of a sample space. Gikan sa dako nga sample space, 52 ka buok, what is probability of getting red cards? The answer is 26. Because there are 26 red cards. Pagawin ko, what is the probability of getting king? We have 1 king from the diamonds, 1 king from the heart, 1 king from the clover, and 1 king from the spades. Therefore, we can have, or we can say, or king is equal to, King is equal to 4. This is what we call a subset of a sample space or an event. Understood? Naman na siya pasabot sa ato ang subset of a sample space or an event. Okay, there are 4 types of events. Okay, we see 4 types of events. We have number 1, elementary event. Elementary event. Tumingin kita elementary event, meaning there is only elementary event, meaning we say elementary event, meaning there is only one or single event we can get. It's one or single event, one or single element or sample point. Okay, when we say elementary event, we can only get one or single element. Again, for example, in this example, deck of cards. How many cards do we have in the deck of cards? 52 cards. Now what if I will say, let E be the elementary event of getting, or ano lang, example of an elementary event, we have, let A be the probability of getting an ace of heart. Okay, an ace of heart. So how many ace of heart do we have in 52 cards? That is one ace of heart. Or we could say 1. This is an example of an elementary event. Kapag single element ra ang makuha sa imong sample space, no? Another example, we can single event. Give me, what is the probability of getting 1 jack from clover? So isa na siya ka-jack sa clover sa 52 ka cards. That is what we call an elementary event. Next one, a compound event. A compound event is 2 or more outcomes. Kung ganina, elementary event kay one or single element outcome. Karon, 2 or more outcomes. So 2 or more outcomes. We say 2 or more outcomes, meaning, example, from this given deck of cards, 13 ka heart, 13 ka diamond, 13 ka clover, 13 ka spades. 52 cards tanan. When we say this example, what is let B be the probability of getting black cards? Mga black daw mga cards. So kayo mga black cards today, 13 na clover, and 13 na clover, and 13 nga spades. Right? Kapabala mo rin yung spades. Yan, spades. Or we could say, B equals, pila ka 13 plus 13? 26. This is what we call a compound event. Anong compound event man? Because there are many other outcomes. Dili lang kay isa. No, manang pasulod sa compound event. So for example, bingon ko og sa dice. May ko dice. If you will toss a dice, let E be the probability of getting an even number sa dice. So sa kayo mga even number sa dice, sample space of a dice is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. So what is the probability of getting an even number? We have 2, 4, and 6. So our E equals 3. This is an example of a compound event, no? Not only one single element. But if I will say, example in a dice, let X be the probability of getting a 7. Again in tossing a dice, nag-toss ng dice, let X be the probability of getting a 7. Di ba sure ang sample space ito kay 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, so may 7. Nag-close naman na dito, walay 7. Therefore, this sample or this event does not exist. And that is what we call a null event. A null event, or also called an impossible event or an empty space. Charot, empty space. Ayan. A null event, an empty space, or an impossible event. Meaning, if the event does not exist. Understand? Kapag sinabing null event, meaning the event does not exist. Okay, the fourth type of event is what we call the sure event, which I think is just so stupid because nakakasabot kung ahani siya gamiton. Kung sure event daw kay all are appeal or all are outcomes. Example, pagmingin ko, what is the probability of getting both a head or a tail? Dito ka 1 because pag itos ni mo na, probability ni mo nga makuha ni mo ang head is also 1, makuha ni mo ang tail is also 1, so 1 half plus 1 half is 1. What is the probability of getting a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 6 in tossing a dice? It's also 1 because in this one, tanawa guys, kasabtan ninyo kayo ha, ano na siya? In tossing a dice, what is the probability of getting a 1, a 2, a 3, a 4, a 5, or a 6, or a 6, no? So, when we say, ingana, meaning, kung kaning 1, that is 1 out of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 6, kani 2. 1, 6 gahapon, kani 1, 6. Kani 1, 6. Kani 1, 6, kani 1, 6. So 1, 6 plus 1, 6, that is equivalent to 1. So when the sure event meaning all the outcomes are possible values of your sample space. Mas muna siya pasabot sa sure event. Okay, so let me give another example. When we say, let me give another example. Let me erase this one up. When we say about sure event, there is actually a certain technique about sure events. Hindi naman natin sure event. Ang sagaling definition sa sure event, everything is included. No? So when you say sure event, everything is included. So kapag sinabing everything is included, sa loob ng sample space, ang lahat ay pwedeng maging part ng sample. It's just that, kung may sure event, tanan sila part yun ng sample. Okay, we have this thing we call a set builder notation. Set builder notation. A set builder notation is a certain language in mathematics, no? Again, I think that some of the STEM students last year I already taught you about this. Anyway, for the UMS and the ABM, this is new to you. So, set builder notation, kapag sinabing set builder notation, it's a certain language in mathematics that involves parentheses and braces, no? Or it involves grouping symbols. Like kapag sinabing set builder notation, example, if you will toss a dice, actually die kay isa na dice siya guys. So dili siya dice. Let me change it. Sabi lang dito ko kanina. Kapag sinabing dice, meaning plural, pag die, isa lang. Tossing a die. Ayan. What is our sample space? That asks me the sample space that is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. Ayan. Muna ang sample space. Kung sa atong statistical experiment, tossing a die. Sample space, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Sample points, this number. Event, wala pa tayo event. So let me give you an event. So kapag sinabi tossing a die, we can set builder notation, meaning ano niya, our S, no? Our S, mali siya pasabot sa set builder notation isa. Our S, yan lang po. Our sample space is equal to X, kasi X meaning the variable, such that X is greater than 0 but is less than or equal to 6. Ayan, kung saan na-picture mo, pasab na dami. So, may set builder notation, we are looking for the value, or we are stating, again, notate. We are stating or notating the value of the sample space. Example, in this sample space, ang value daw niya dito na daw sa 1 tama sa 6. Okay, 1 tama sa 6. So meaning we could say that our samples in set builder notation, this is again ang sa ginang set builder notation, a mathematical language. Mas gamit mo gani siya guys, mas again man siya sa tutun. Aba ha. Mathematical language, set builder notation, example, S equals 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, the sample space of tossing a die. So, meaning we could say that S, or the sample space, is that X such that, ano na siya guys? Bar. Such that X is greater than 0. Sakto ba? Greater than 0. Correct. Kaya gawan taga sugod. But is less than or equal to 6. Remember our signs. That is less than, that is greater than, that is equal, that is unequal, that is null. This one is less than or equal to. That one is greater than or equal to. Those are our signs, ha? Kung sa tawag ani? Ito, alam ni parenthesis. Parenthesis meaning exclusive. So, tama niya. Kung may ka o ingani, braces. Meaning inclusive. So, labot siya. Masagtot naman ang later part. Let's go back. Let's go back to this one. Please take note of these symbols. Okay, muna siya pasabot sa statutory notation. Example, I have another given. The probability of, example, I will give a quiz. Score in a quiz. Atong quiz last time, ang score ato is taman 65. So, S equals, puto lang, 10 na lang. 1, example na, scoring a quiz. I will give you a quiz, 10 items. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. What is the probability of your score? So your score would either be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, or 10. Teacher mo, makuha ka kung 0? Yes, makuha kong 0. So, 0. Pwede man na, wala siya ka-answer. So, 0 ka. Pwede po yung perfect ka, pero maabot ka 11, really. Kaya nga itong score in a quiz is only 10. So therefore, we could say that our set builder notation is that S is equal to X such that X is greater than or equal to 0, but it's less than 11. Teacher mo na, lain na teacher. Pwede yung po na siya ani teacher mo. S is equal to X such that X is greater than or equal to 0, but it's less than or equal to 10. Correct, good. That is correct. Pwede po na siya ngayon, teacher mo. S is equal to X such that X is greater than or equal to 0. So tara rin siya. Wala na siya kinalasan. These two are the kinalasan na pwede siya ma-answer. Okay, so with this given, tanawa guys, ang ato ang 10, ang ato ang second given, kung inyo makita, pareha sila man na ay equal to or equal to. Di ba? This is what we call X is greater than or equal to 0, but it's less than or equal to 10. This taas sa first step, greater than or equal to 0, but it's less than 11. So, naay isa nga wala equal to, naay isa nga naay nga puro ay naay-isa po na puro na equal to. Okay, let me explain that later part. Another example. If I will say that all kaning tossing a die, it's sige, balik tayo tossing a die. We say tossing a die. In tossing a die, the value could either be X such that X is greater than 0, kay 1 naman so good, mo end of 6. Or less than or equal to 6. Pwede yung punta mo yun nga, S is equal to X such that X is greater than 0, but it's less than 7. Sakto mong hapon, kay waman tayo gilabot na 7. Less than 7 man, so 6 magsugod. So, another one, pwede punta mo yun S is equal to X such that X is greater than or equal to 1, but it's less than 7. Pwede na gihapon. Pwede po tayo ng S such that X is greater than or equal to 1, but it's less than or equal to 6. Kabantay mo? Okay guys, ano siya pasabot sa set builder notation? Natin itawag nga inclusivity of exclusivity. Inclusives of exclusives. Kapag sinabing inclusive, pareha this one. Sa inyo makita dire, i-include S is equal to X such that X is greater than 0. So exclusive dire. Wala labot si 0, di ba? Labay 0 sa atong tosing aday, wala. Pero, less than or equal to 6. Na 6 wala. Na-correct pag-yapon kung imo ni palitaon ng mga value that is, what is greater than 0? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Taman. Less than or equal to 6. Tama na sa 6. Kung dali, sa ikalo ka. Atong tanawon. Greater than 0, 1, 2. Sunod, 3, 4, 5. Less than 7, 6. At sa 7, wala. Wala, kay less than 7 na. How about here? Greater than or equal to 1. I would say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Dapat si 7, wala. Wala. So 6. Tama na 6. And so with this one. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so parehan ito ng value, di ba? Tossing aday, the same sample space, the same sample points. What are we saying then? In this set of denotation, a mathematical language, it's more easier to identify your sample spaces. Nga naman, not the inclusives o exclusives. Kapag sinabi inclusive, tanawa here. First, na itong example. X such that X is greater than 0. Apil si 0 wala. Wala. So, exclusive siya. But is less than or equal to 6. Apil si 6 wala. Apil. Muna gitawag o less than man, di ba? Less than atong sign. Lesser than inclusive. Ayan. How about in the second one? S is equal to X such that X is greater than 0 but is less than 7. Na inclusive still ang diha, na apil na diha, wala. That is what we call exclusive. How about here? X such that X is greater than or equal to 1 but is less than or equal to 7. So exclusive, inclusive. Kung si inclusive, ang lesser than or ang greater than? Ang greater than. So this is what we call greater than exclusive. This one, puro greater than inclusive. Greater than inclusive. This one puro included. So therefore, that is what we call inclusive. That is how you make a set builder notation. Another example in creating a set builder notation. Another example of creating a set builder notation, we have examples of set builder notation. Ano sa paha? The value of when you are going to cards, no? Heart of cards. Ayan. So therefore, our sample space is equal to 1, 2, A, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, Jack, Queen, okay, right? That is our sample space. So let's put this one in a numerical form. Magdula ka it's alas is 1, di ba? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Ang Jack, ato na ibutang 11. Ang Queen, ibutang na 12. Ang King, ibutang na 13. So basically, there are 13 cards in a heart of cards. That is our sample space. Now, question. What is our set builder notation in this one? So we could say S is equal to X such that X is, kumingon taog, inclusive. Apil tanan. Kung apil tanan, greater than or equal to 1 but less than or equal to 13. Apil ang 1, wala. Apil ang 13, apil. This is what we call inclusive. Kumingon taog, exclusive daw. Sige, exclusive. Walay labot ang kanlasan o ang kinaunhan. You could say X such that X is greater than, kasi before sa 1, wala. So 0. But it's less than, kung sunod sa 13, 14. Labot si 0 dili, wala. Wala. Labot si 14 dili, wala. Wala. Exclusive. Kung may mong taog, lesser than inclusive. Ako na lang ha. Lesser than LT inclusive. Oh, LT inclusive. We could say S such that S is equal to X such that X is lesser than man. So, greater than 0. Anong 0 man sure? Kay ang ato ang gipangita lesser than man, lesser than inclusive. LT inclusive. So, dapat dili tama lesser than or equal to. Appeal siya sa inclusive ang lesser than. So, kisa may appeal na lesser than 3, 13. Manong 0 man din sure? Kay again, lesser than inclusive. Dapat sa lesser than appeal. So sa greater than, wala yung appeal. Ano na siya nagbasa lang sa? X is greater than 0 but lesser than or equal to 13. Okay, next one. Kung may tao greater than inclusive or GT inclusive, we could say S X such that X is greater than inclusive. So greater than or equal to sa may appeal? 1. So, ang pikas less than walay appeal. Ang sabi walay appeal? 40. This is how you make a set builder notation. And I will give you another quiz about set builder notation and we will be solving them all together. So, pag mag-quiz ko, bingon ako kalit. In this given sample space, what do you think is the set, give me or provide me the set builder notation in an exclusive form. No? Or bingon ko, in this given sample space, provide me the greater than inclusive set builder notation. Ana, kamo din magamaan ni. Okay? Let's go to the next topic. We have, when we talk about sample spaces are usually represented using a diagram. Sample spaces are usually represented using a diagram. Example, tossing, meron ka sa tossing aday, ha? Paligpaligin nyo ito, muna pinaka-basic example. In tossing aday, what is our sample space again? S is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Kaya naman, there are 6 sides of a die. Next one, what is our set builder notation? Set builder notation inclusive. Sige daw. That is, S is equal to X such that X is inclusive man. Greater than or equal to 1, lesser than or equal to 6. And inclusive, appeal silang duha. Okay, when we see sample space in advance, they can be represented using a diagram. Okay, so when we say, let A be all odd numbers. Let B be all even numbers. So, A all odd, B all even. So we could say that the value of our A is equal to, so kayo mga odd numbers sample space, 1, 3, and 6. Ay, 1, 3, and 5. 1, 3, and 5. About B? B is all even. That is, ano sa ba na? All even. 2, 4, and 6. Okay, no? 2, 4, and 6. Next, C. Let C be the number that can, let's see, numbers that are factors of 6. Okay, let's see be the numbers that are factors of 6. Kung saan kayo mga factors of 6 ali? What are the factors of 6 here for our C? C is equal to, kung saan kayo nakadivide of 6, ano ito ang sample space? We have 6 itself. Kung ito 1, we have 1. Makadivide pa ng 6? Oo. 2 makadivide. 3 makadivide. Dayon, 6 itself makadivide. Okay. So we could say, in this given, how do we represent sample spaces and events in a diagram? That is what we call a Venn diagram. Okay, Okay, Venn diagram. Example, let A. No, hindi na siya ma-agree. Wait sa guys ha. I will refill sa my ink. Ayan, sorry. Again, a sample space and event can be represented through the use of a Venn diagram. In this given, we could say A, B, no? And C. No? So we can say, ayan. How do I say this? A, 1, 2, 1, 3, 5, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so we can say A, B, C. Venn diagram, guys. So we could say that the fact all odd numbers are in A, B, C. Ano yung mga odd numbers? 1, 3, at 5. Ano yung mga even numbers? 2, 4, at 6. Ano yung mga factors ng 6? We have 1, 2, and 3. So nasan si 1? Dapat sa C din si 1. We have 1 here. We have 2. 2 should also be here. And 3 should also be here. And 6 should also be here. So therefore, we could directly say that our Venn diagram would somehow look like this. 1, 3, and 5. Diba to? 2, 4, and 6. Nasabtan siya? Because nga naman, we could say that si A na may 1, 3, and 5 mo. 1, 3, and 5. But 1, 3 is also in C. So we can put it somewhere between A, and this is A man. Okay, sorry. Somewhere between A, this is A. We could also put it somewhere between C. 1, 3, 5. Here put 2, 4, 6. You have 2, 4, 6. So, sakto man, 4 is in B. But also, 2 and 6 is also in C. So, ayan, nabutang siya din. No? So, that's how you make a Venn diagram. And we will continue the discussion for Venn diagram through the use of Zoom meeting. I will be sending another assignment, and this video will be sent to you as a link for YouTube. So, goodbye, statistics babies.